When did a prank on a teacher go too far? Mrs. Osborne immediately locked the classroom door and screamed, "Which one of you thought it was funny to prank call my mother last night?" A couple of boys in the back snickered nervously, but nobody raised their hand. Aiden and Alex were always pulling stupid pranks, so everyone assumed it was them, but they shook their heads when people looked their way. Whoever did it scared her so badly that she had a heart attack. "My mother died last night because one of you thought it would be hilarious to call and threaten her." The room went completely silent. Even the kids who never paid attention were staring at Mrs. Osborne in shock. Someone's backpack fell off their desk, and the thud made everyone jump. "Nobody is leaving this room until I find out who did it. The police are waiting outside to arrest whoever is responsible." Danica raised her hand tentatively and asked if we could call our parents. Mrs. Osborne shook her head and said not until someone confessed. She pulled her chair in front of the door and sat down with her arms crossed. Her phone kept buzzing, but she ignored it. The next 20 minutes felt like hours. Students started whispering to each other, trying to figure out who could have done it. Everyone had Mrs. Osborne's number from the class contact sheet she'd handed out at the beginning of the year. Any of us could have found her mom's information online. Kenny suggested it might have been someone from another period, but Mrs. Osborne said the caller mentioned specific things from our class, details only someone in the first period would know. She'd narrowed it down to us 30 students and wouldn't stop until she had a name. The accusations started flying. People pointed fingers at the usual suspects like Aiden and Alex. Then someone mentioned that Alexis had been mad about her grade on the last essay. Ian said he'd overheard Lawrence joking about prank calling teachers. Everyone was turning on each other, trying to deflect suspicion. Mrs. Osborne just sat there watching us with those red-rimmed eyes. Every few minutes she'd remind us that her mother was dead because of someone in this room. The weight of it pressed down on all of us. Some girls were crying. A few guys looked ready to bolt for the windows. I noticed Philip in the corner wiping his face with his sleeve. He was the quiet kid who sat alone and never caused trouble. While everyone else was arguing and defending themselves, he was silently crying. Something about his reaction seemed different from the general panic in the room. The room was getting hot with all of us trapped inside. Someone banged on the door from the outside, but Mrs. Osborne didn't move. We could hear muffled voices that sounded like administrators trying to get in. She'd barricaded us in here and wasn't budging until she got her answer. An hour passed, then two. We'd missed second period completely, and third was starting. Parents were probably being called. The police were supposedly waiting. Everything was spiraling out of control because of one stupid prank call that had gone horribly wrong. Riley started having a panic attack and begged to go to the nurse. Mrs. Osborne wouldn't let her leave. Marco tried to reason with her, explaining this was kidnapping or false imprisonment. She laughed bitterly and said the police could arrest her after they arrested her mother's killer. That's when I noticed Philip had moved to the back of the room. He was sitting on the floor behind the last row of desks with his knees pulled to his chest. His whole body was shaking. While everyone else was scared of getting in trouble, he looked absolutely terrified. I made my way over to him, stepping around backpacks and angry classmates. When I sat down next to him, he flinched like I might hit him. Up close, I could see his face was blotchy from crying, and his breathing was ragged. "Philip, are you okay?" He shook his head, and fresh tears started falling. His voice was barely a whisper when he finally spoke. The words came out in a rush like he'd been holding them in for hours. "It was me. I was dared to do it. Aiden said I was too much of a pussy to prank call a teacher. He gave me 20 bucks and said I had to make it scary or it didn't count. I didn't mean for anyone to get hurt. I just wanted them to think I was cool for once. Please don't let me go to jail. I can't go to jail. I'm only 15. Mrs. Osborne went white. She stood up and started slowly marching over to Philip. Full story on channel linked below.